We've stepped outside now to take in the view of this lovely artificial lake. It was created in the 1970s after loads of stuff was dug out to help landscape Redditch. Behind it and running through the country park is the River Arrow, and this is relevant because since the general election was called, you've been getting in touch to tell us that our water and how clean it is something you really care about. For instance, Mike told us to say that the constant flow of sewage and other pollutants into our rivers must be stopped, while Caroline said she's concerned about river health, soil, wildlife diversity, recycling and sustainability. But as Nicola Goodwin reports, finding a political solution to a problem like this is far from straightforward.
The River Wye is more than 150 miles long. It starts in the hills of Wales and then crosses the border into England here in Hay-on-Wye. The thing is, the border does matter for politics, decisions and funding.
And it may affect how people living near the river vote. The water flows on through Hereford and Ross-on-Wye.
Environmental matters have a higher place on the agenda than they have been given for most of my life.
In April, the government announced £35 million of funding for the Wye, but just for the stretches in England, not Wales. The experts say the only way to clean up the Wye is for a cross-border plan that works in England and Wales. Just hours after Rishi Sunak announced the date of the general election, a manifesto was being launched here at the Hay Festival. Not by a political party, but by campaigners and volunteers. Dave Throop worked for the Environment Agency for 22 years.
Nobody is going to find it easy to solve the problems of the Wye, but the fact that you have two governments, two sets of regulations, two sets of regulators introduces a new set of complexities. There can't be a catchment in England and Wales, I would suggest, that's had more money spent on it than the River Wye in trying to sort this out, and it hasn't really shifted the dial. You know, things are getting worse.
Nicola Goodwin, BBC Midlands Today.
Well, joining us now is our political editor, Rob Mayer. Hi, Rob. We just gathered, haven't we, how difficult it can be to sort out what seems quite a simple environmental problem, seem to sort it out, but politically it's tricky. I mean, how much are the parties engaging with the environment?
Well, I think they've been forced to, really. I mean, this issue of pollution in our rivers has almost become sort of symbolic, hasn't it, of lots of the challenges that lots of our public services are facing. Now, the Conservatives and Labour are both promising to ban bonuses for water company chief executives whose companies commit sewage incidents. So the Conservatives point out it's them that have brought in 100% monitoring of sewage incidents in rivers. The Labour and the Lib Dems both say they'd bring in an independent regulator. Reform UK promising to half nationalise water companies. The Greens saying they'd 100% nationalise them. But it's difficult to see how, as the geese chime up behind us, it's difficult to see how that would make a difference somewhere like the River Wye, where a lot of the pollution comes from farming. So yeah, they are really, really difficult issues to crack, but the party's been forced to talk about them because clearly people really care about it.
Let me just have a quick gander at the geese. Oh, there they are. What other environmental stuff? I mean, like sort of electric cars and so on?
Yeah, electric cars. So Labour and the Conservatives both planning to phase those out by 2030 in Labour's case, 2035 in the case of the Conservatives. They pushed that back, and that's pretty big for this area, of course, the wider West Midlands, where we have so many jobs in the automotive sector, so those companies watching that closely.
Let's talk about the Labour manifesto issued today. Any surprises in there?
Not really. There wasn't anything we hadn't heard about before. The Labour leader, Sir Keir Starmer's actually been in the Black Country this evening. He's been in Halesowen talking to party members and supporters about that manifesto. As I say, no real surprises in it. We've had manifestos from the Conservatives as well this week, and the Greens and the Lib Dems as well. You can get a real breakdown of the top pledges in those manifestos by going to the BBC News website. Of course, Labour are well ahead in the polls at the moment, Nick. I don't know if it's a sign of their confidence, but where Sir Keir Starmer's been holding that meeting tonight in Halesowen, the road just opposite, it's called Downing Street. I don't know if they chose that on purpose, but there's a long way to go and lots can change in 3 weeks.
Yeah, and just very briefly, it looks as though they're playing safe because they know they're there. They clinched it.
It was quite a safe manifesto today. He promised no increases on personal taxes, which is something they've been repeating for a while. So yeah, safety first from Labour. As I say, get a breakdown of all those manifestos on the BBC News website.
OK, Rob, thank you very much indeed.